sir.
Okay. Welcome to the perfect show. Oh, let me turn myself up. Turn me up. DJ, turn me up. Nah. All right, cool. Yo, I have special guest doesn't even explain my brother. Yo, I haven't seen this man since literally Obama's first year in office. Twitter was new. LeBron was still with Cleveland. Yo, how are you?
I'm beautiful, man. I'm beautiful. And words also don't describe and capture how excited I am all the way down here. The days leading up to this, I was just like, man, I can't believe this is going down. I feel like I'm about to go to a theme park, like for real, because of the amount of love that I have for you. And I've watched the program seriously before it was this, as you've gone through different phases of finding your voice in a public space. And I've always been very inspired by how you're able to communicate with the people, very serious ideas, very important concepts. And I'm like, man, now I get to sit with my brother and do it too.
Right.
Like this, oh yeah, it feels like one of them, you know, people like if Jay-Z does an interview, it's gonna be like, okay, you might as well get like, you know, several hours of your day cleared out to watch this, because it's gonna be mad long and it's gonna be like mad heavy.
Right.
So I feel like it's that type of thing where I want to know what you have to say, and I want to know what God's gonna bring out of me. So if you don't get those things, what they say, steel sharpens steel, right? You don't get some of the things out of you that need to come out until you have another piece of steel to sharpen yourself against, and that's what you are, bro. So,
oh, preach, man. Yo, retweet. I feel the exact same about you. Like, I remember when you dropped Wait Minute, man.
Oh,
like,
man.
yo, like that was because it was just like. So this is how we met, y'all. Sorry, finishing up puberty. We met in high school. I was a junior when you were a freshman. Because you graduated 2011, right?
I did.
Okay.
Man, too, I'm getting old. I said
his lovely wife, Mariah's here.
Mariah's in the building.
Yeah, we'll get a little cameo later. We'll shoot her. But we met, and I was in honors pre-calc. My basketball coach told me don't take honors, but you know, I wanted to be an outstanding young man.
Sir. Yes, sir.
And I'll never forget him as a freshman was in there taking honors pre-calc, and I was just like almost like enamored, because you were also just such a kind person. But I think the thing that stuck out to me the most is I was like, you always had like this, and this is from I met you when you were 14.
Dang.
It's like you kind of had like just like adult ass presence, you know. And I'm sitting here like I'm older, you know what I'm saying. And in high school, you know, a 2-year age difference, you can feel that. You feel like the man, you know what I'm saying.
Yes,
and I just used to always look at you and I'd be like, man, I need to grow the hell up. And so it's crazy because like you always inspire me, like for real though.
Yes, sir.
Just because I know growing up, like I like scholarly shit. You know what I'm saying? Like it's because I think you can attribute some of it to just growing up before the internet. You know what I'm saying? And so if you like school stuff at school, you probably gonna go home and continue to explore that. And so for me, it was numbers and reading to a degree.
Right.
And so I always kind of kept that with me. But you know, as we got older, the internet came out, personal computers started coming out, YouTube dropped. By the time we got to high school, I started in 2005, you started in 2007. You know, but that was like the birth of, I always consider YouTube as basically the beginning of like the second wave of the internet, which is like the beginning of the social, everyone coming together.
Right.
And like, I just feel like so much love for the scholarly activity was lost in that time. And so to like come across somebody like you, it just always stuck with me. So now here we are, 13 years later.
Come on, bro. It's a lot. Look, let me open up on my side. I mean, I'd be remiss if I didn't open up in the name of Allah, God, the most beneficent, the most merciful. Man, I just gotta thank him for, first of all, doing what it do and coming to black people in America that was stripped away from our names, our culture, our religion, all that. sitting here worshiping evil slave masters out of function of necessity, to come and make sure that we had some information to be able to get up out of this thing, bringing us different prophets over all these years to help the whole human family come into alignment. And then bringing us, I have to walk it all the way down to Master Fard Muhammad, who got us the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who brought us the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, because that's really the only reason I'm here, bro. That's the only reason I had something different about me when I was 14 years old. That was it. I was studying these teachings in the Nation of Islam. We weren't even registered members at the time.
Word.
At all. I just knew about the teachings, and I was listening to Farrakhan cassette tapes and Malcolm X tapes and all the information and aligning that with what I was getting in church since I was a baby. My parents thought it was important that I had that piece of Black history, which otherwise has just been left out. So I have to start by thanking God for doing all that and bringing us right here where we're at today. And I got to thank you, brother. I would give you a fifth hug if I could right now, because I'm just so excited, man. So let's go. Let's go.
Yo, even you saying that makes a lot of sense, because seriously, like the intelligence and wit, like that stuck out first, I feel like. But like the calm demeanor, and like I told you earlier, your sister, because she was a year younger than me. She's a year older than you.
She's a year older than me.
Okay, yeah.
14 months, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Yeah. Because she was a year younger than me, and we didn't have a whole lot of interaction, but she just had a certain, like, y'all both had a certain poise. I remember when I found out y'all were like brother and sister, I was like, this shit makes so much more sense. This shit makes so, because y'all had, seriously, like there was like this, and I feel like for it to stick out to my subconscious mind at 16 and always stick with me, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, it's God. And I have so many questions, because I'm at a state where I grew up staunch Christian.
Yes, sir.
And I love the fabric of a lot of Christianity principles, and I really like the Jesus story. Right. I really feel like it's misinterpreted to the nth degree, which we'll probably get on.
Absolutely.
But I found myself right now, I'm in this place where, and I don't think it's a bad thing, but I don't necessarily know like who, but I do be praying to God. But I'm just kind of like, I don't have a direct God, but I do though. And so I don't know, like, I don't know, there's a dichotomy forming in my head. I don't know if you can tell.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
Like, so to hear, like, I want to hear so much about like Allah.
Yes, sir.
I want to know if I'm pronouncing it right.
That's it.
Because I have a homie at work, man, and he I know he's Muslim, and there's a different. I need to know.
We got let's walk through it. Yes, sir. It's all good.
I'm a novice. I'm here to learn.
Look, I'm here to learn, brother. Because whatever you're gonna ask me, some of these are gonna be the first time I'm answering these questions in any public setting. Because unfortunately, our people don't be communicating enough about the most important things, which is like God. You know what I'm saying? We don't be talking about it. So I'm here to learn from you. Whatever you're here to learn from me. So I'm also here to learn where your brain is and what you're learning, because a lot of the things that you believe, I'm sure will help me understand my beliefs even better. That's the whole point, So let's talk, bro. Ask me whatever.
Okay, so let's get straight to it. You say your parents. So did you grow up with a religion?
Absolutely. So my parents were both raised in a staunch Christian household. And in a function, I was too. My grandmother was one of the core members of, the Baptist Church in Chinquapin, North Carolina. And if you know anything about North Carolina, once you get to them cities that only have a couple stoplights, those cities, if they're Black, they revolve around the church, period. And it's mainly to this day. I mean, it's like going back in time to experience some of the values. And everybody's slipping at this point in 2022. Everybody's slipping from some of those core family values and principles. But, in the South, where you can still smell the slave blood and the plantations, you know what I'm saying? It was a real cohesiveness that we had that it takes a long time to deteriorate if it ever does. And so there's some. It was more of a way of life for me to be a Christian, being in the South, because that's what I saw. It wasn't until later in life that I found out that some people experience Christianity as a set of rules in religion. I didn't even know about it. I didn't know, but to me, being a Christian was like the way you live, because man, that was the way we lived.
Yeah.
And there's a beauty in that. At one point in the Nation of Islam, we don't date. It's either you married or you single. Like it's like
Oh, real?
Oh yeah, it's like there's no girlfriends. Like, bro, you having sex with somebody who ain't married. You just having sex with somebody. That don't mean anything. And so, but before I had accepted these principles, I was dating a few people, and one of them is a young lady who was Catholic. And in that experience, I recognized, man, there are people that experience Christianity as a function of rules that I don't know anything about. Because to me, these rules aren't anywhere in the Bible and necessarily defined by God, but they're defined by council, and these councils are people that they did some bad things. And so I got questions, but I didn't find out about that stuff except through the teachings, through Minister Farrakhan's lectures, and through, through getting older. But when I was young, it was us living that Baptist life, where I was going to visit my mom's side of the family, my dad's side of the family were in church. But when we were home, we would go visit Mosque number 4 in Washington, D.C. when we lived in Virginia. And we started to visit Mosque number 34 in Durham, North Carolina when we lived in Holly Springs. And then when we lived in, subsequently, I went to the School of Science and Math in Durham. I would slide through there too. But so the mosque experience taught me, it's a long answer to your short question.
No, it's okay.
But the mosque experience in the Nation of Islam taught me right out the gate. A good Christian is a good Muslim. A good Muslim is a good Christian. So my whole life, when people would ask me, what do you identify? Are you a Christian? I'd be like, yeah, I'm a Christian. And if they ask me, am I a Muslim? Yeah, I'm a Muslim. If they ask me what my religion was, I'd be like, oh, I identify as Muslim and Christian. This was before people were identifying as, all sorts of things like,
right.
Giraffes and flowers and all, and, I was identifying as, a Muslim and a Christian. And I would see, even in my family, sometimes people's heads turn on a swivel, but it's so simple, man. It was a way of life for me. And the way of life was synonymous. Between those two structures, a Muslim is someone by definition who submits their will to the will of God. Allah, they say Allah. Allah means God. A Christian is someone who is striving to follow the principles executed by Christ, as an example. And there's no difference between following Christ, believing in Christ fully and completely, and following God and believing in God fully and completely. It's the same doggone thing. So somebody messed up some of this, I would say, translation at the core. Because the words that you're getting have to be transliterated. The transliteration had to get messed up too. And then regardless of all that, the exegesis, after you have the translation, the transliteration, you got to explain, this is what it means with the vibe, your vibe is all off. If whatever you're explaining to me works while you're a slave master, I don't know if this vibe is right. I don't think you really got the exegesis correct. So yeah, for me, there was always a cohesiveness between my understanding of Christianity as a religion, my understanding of Islam as a religion. I never quite understood why my family didn't get that, and random people out in the world, when I tell them that, it was like their head would swivel. But then I realized that there were certain rules that people were picking apart, and they're saying, see, they can't be the same because Muslims only believe that Jesus was a prophet, and it's like, okay, now we're getting in the weeds. I don't know, but I didn't know about that stuff. That stuff to me, these are like really weird stipulations and individual,
right.
Emotional answers where I'm like, if you really are gonna define prophet for me and break that down, then I can deal. Otherwise, I don't know what you're talking about. you know?
Right.
So yeah, that's the long answer. The long answer short, you know, I am a follower of God. And since I say that, I study everybody that says that they believe in God. I trust you until proven guilty. you know,
Right.
Study everything. So I'm a Christian. I am a Jew. I am a Muslim. I'm all of that and then some because I refuse to let things limit me as to who I really am.
Yeah, that was a great answer. That was a
All
good
praises
answer.
due to Allah, man.
Yo,
Man, I'm excited to be here.
that just gave me some freedom. Dead ass. I really like that.
Beautiful.
Because it honestly reminds me of, I feel like something my dad's been telling me for years just kind of like connected. And it's crazy because he's a staunch Christian.
Yes, sir.
I've never seen this motherfucker drink. Never heard him curse.
That's beautiful.
You know?
Yes, sir. In your life?
In my dog.
Man, your dad's cold. I mean,
Right,
I heard
well-
Mr. Farrakhan curse a few times.
Well,
in front of people.
well, they said I'm my dad's third child. They said before me.
Oh, there was some wild times.
I don't know what happened in the 80s and 70s, so I can't speak for that. All I know is that nigga in the 90s and now. And I've literally nothing. Same with my
sir.
mom.
That's
She's
beautiful.
cursed, yes, but like as far as like doing their best to live. But my dad always says, you know, I'd rather someone be a Jew. I'd rather someone be a Muslim.
Right.
Or be Muslim. I never want to offend people.
Yes, sir.
He's like, I'd rather someone be Buddhist than have no religion at all because at least you're striving for
Yes, sir.
some kind of goal.
Let me say something about that real quick. I'm gonna throw atheist in there. I spoke about this not too long ago with my brother. Bro, I don't believe you if you say you're atheist. It's impossible.
Really?
I'm sorry. Look, you would get this.
Yeah, I want to hear this.
No, you would get this. It ain't nothing. It's there's one, right?
Yeah.
And there's zero. So how many different individual separations can you make between those two concepts? It's infinite. Like, you tell me how many of them you can do. Like, if you want to draw a line at one, can you do it? Like, if you really want to draw a line right where one is, you zoom in, you zoom in, you zoom in. You're gonna be 0.0000 something off of one. You're not gonna be on it. We're dealing with the universe of infinities. So if you're trying to tell me you don't believe in God, then what's the largest number?
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Now we're talking.
If you can't tell me what's the largest number, then you believe in infinity. And what is God, bro?
Dog.
Infinity. It's a very alive concept. And it will never not be that. But it's my point. Like, you know what I'm talking about, because I know you spent the time to reflect on this beyond what most of us do. And I have as well. And it's difficult. It's like thinking about the fact that I'm going to die. Just sit down and be like, I'm going to die. At some point, I ain't going to be breathing. See, life changes on the other end of that reflection. It changes, because then it's like, what am I doing? What is the point of any of this if I'm going to die? And I am going to die. When you really sit and think about the fact that, well, I'm going to die, but something's going to live forever. Infinity is always going to be there. You can't really convince me that you're an atheist, because you don't have a choice. Either way, whether you believe in infinity or not, you bear witness to it.
Damn.
So either you believe in yourself, or you believe in Satan, or you believe in vibes. You believe in something, and whatever that something is your God. So you absolutely believe in God. Absolutely. You just define it differently than I do, maybe, consciously. But subconsciously, you don't have a choice. Sorry to interrupt, brother. Please continue.
There's a yearning in my spirit.
Yes, sir.
Because, like, yo, that is literally it's crazy. That's my response. I've never looked at it from the atheist angle, but I was atheist for probably like 13 days, dead ass. Somewhere I was cursing on Facebook and shit. I was mad as hell, 2018.
Yes.
For real, like it was. I remember, like, it was a little less than 2 weeks. I was like, yo, because I was scared. I'm atheist. Because I was sick of, like you were saying, things I've been taught that didn't make any sense, and I was in this in between stage. But I thought about numbers, and I'm like, There's no last number. They keep growing.
Come on, bro.
What does God keep doing?
What are we doing?
What is the universe? It keeps growing, and I'm looking around like, okay.
I get it.
Yeah.
I just don't get it, but I get it.
Exactly. Because somebody could be born and somehow could talk and count from the second they're born. They could live for 200 years and count every second of their life, and as soon as they die, numbers keep going.
That's right.
And it's wild because since we started this conversation, new numbers have been born.
Yes, sir.
And it's strange.
Yes, sir.
And it's like, that's why I have this belief of like, I believe in free will and predestination.
Yes, sir.
Because it's almost like with numbers, you know what's coming next,
yes,
technically.
Sir. Technically.
But you can never get to the end.
No. Yes, sir.
It's... What a concept,
man! I feel like I derailed what you were.
So
you were saying a statement, and I jumped in to throw in that because you were listing out where your father would say, you know, I'd rather you believe in something than nothing. No, and I'm like, look, shoot, I just wanted to add even atheists believe in something, but I want you to continue your point.
Okay, true.
Yes,
no, I forgot about that.
Yes, sir.
It's crazy, man. It's gonna be hard for me to get back there because now you got my mind.
I know.
Can we talk about numbers? Well, just that concept.
Yes, sir.
Let me look to the camera. Y'all know I've been waiting to talk about this forever. Yo, thank you so much for being here. Because, dog.
Thank you.
That's it. It's like I'm basically at this point where I feel like, yo, numbers I'm pretty much are my God, and not my like. Well, it's like they're like my proof, my evidence of God, because it's like,
yes, sir.
There are these infinite set of living conscious beings that make up the physical world around us, and they exist outside of human interaction. Nobody made 1 + 1 = 2.
Right.
Nobody. That and 1 + 1 = 2 long before we were born. Before Jesus, if people think, he walked the earth, right. Before the Mayans. Right. And I'm like, even the concept of aliens, how people look for like other life forms.
Yes, sir.
I'm like, I think numbers are like aliens. Because if we're talking about another life form, you have this thing that is constantly giving birth, always, and it's always expanding. And like I said, we live in a physical world that's controlled by a mental world, but in this physical world, everything has numerical dimensions.
Right.
I'm like, bro, this is God.
Yes, sir.
Like the concept of the Matrix, that whole like yes, all the numbers falling shit. I feel like that's basically like what this earth is. It's like a bunch of like, it's like probability floating around here. It's like
yes, sir. Yes, sir. You're right.
The Spirit of the Lord is here.
Yes, sir. No, I feel you. See, this is one of the reasons why I love the study of science so much and mathematics so much, especially when it comes to the different versions and forms of calculus and the different versions and forms of physics, specifically those two things, because it has helped me with what you're talking about. It's helped me to define relationships between infinities, right? With physics, mainly quantum mechanics, right? And then with math, mainly calculus. We're dealing with infinity. And it shows you the limit to this world and that it has to be something greater. Because these white folks, they just don't got it. And we built a whole world based on white supremacy. And it's weak. It don't work. They don't even like it no more, bro. And let me take it back. Okay.
Oh, he took the glasses off.
No, but yeah, because I have to be able to really, focus. If we look at dimensions, because you mentioned that word, that's a very important word. And I feel like just like thinking, I'm going to die, what does that mean? Just like thinking, what's the biggest number? I don't think most of our people, and when I say our people, I mean anybody that isn't running things in a very real material way.
I like the way you put that.
Those are my people. I ain't with them people that is really running things in a material way. These people are quite evil, God above all of that you know,
Yeah.
is really running things in a very material way. But when I say our people, I'm talking about us that's with him and not the middle management that's just literally just setting fires in every single corner of the earth. But I don't think our people, the people that are not directly in control of their destiny, whether you be white or purple, I don't think we spend enough time reflecting on the concept of a dimension. It would change our understanding consciously of God. Mind you, look, everything I'm saying is some version or form of my understanding of the teachings of Master Farah Muhammad. So this is a sidebar. If y'all haven't read Message to the Black Man, read it. If you haven't read How to Eat to Live, books 1 and 2, read it. If you don't read the Final Call newspaper with them brothers to be standing in them suits and it's hot as hell and it's like, man, I can't believe you're not sweating right now. Get a Final Call every now and then or read it digitally. Like, it's not that many books Elijah Muhammad wrote. Read them. There's a reason Malcolm X was so smart. It wasn't him. He's copying these people, right? Is Master Farah Muhammad's information is a problem book that he gave us. And from that one little book, you have the foundation of all the teachings of the Nation of Islam. It's not that much stuff. And like I've heard one of your guests say the other day, we got the internet now. Do your work, bro. You know what I'm saying? So I just want to say that like I'm not smart, bro. I'm a dunce.
That's up for debate.
Look, I'm only smart in these bits of information that I've been able to consciously connect and then take apart and then reconstruct and then freestyle with. So all this conversation I'm doing is based on stuff other people have said that I was like, that was smart. I'm gonna steal it. I gave a direct quote when I said, I'm a Muslim, I'm a Christian, I'm a Jew, I'm all that, and then some, because I refuse to let things limit me as to who I really am. That was a quote from Minister Farrakhan, what he said when he was at the Million Man March in 1995. Bro, I didn't make that up. And I'm do that all the time. And most of the time, I'm not going to tell people in that moment because I'm doing it all the time. I'd have to stop every sentence to be like, hey, I got that from Farrakhan. I got that from Elijah Muhammad. I got that from... It's who I am. So I want to get back to this dimension thing. It would change our understanding consciously of who God is if we really reflected on the concept of dimension. I think our people don't clear words enough. We just be saying stuff, bro. But what is a dimension? If we get into it, quantum mechanics really helps you to understand when you look at a dimension, if you break it all the way down to what is the first dimension and the second dimension, third dimension, da-da-da. When you look at calculus, you get dimension from a different perspective, from the perspective of a derivative versus an integral, right? Where you're looking at the rate of change of something, you go to different levels of the rate of change of something. So when I look at a dimension in layman's terms, let's go to quantum mechanics because it's easier for the average person that doesn't do mental math. Because quantum physics is just calculus, but with like normal people words, which ends up being jargon. Yeah,
that's so
physics is calculus. I remember telling people that at Holly Springs High School, man, and people thought I was crazy. Because remember after we did pre-cal, I did calculus A, B, and BC and physics at the same time. And they thought I was wilding. I was sophomore year of high school.
Yeah, dog.
And I was like, it's the same thing. Y'all don't realize.
Because I remember let it be known, I failed honors pre-calc. The class I took it to miserably. And so, because
almost
to me,
by decision. You know what I'm saying? Because you could have, you a genius, bro.
It was effort, not ability. but I didn't understand it. And to me, like,
right.
It's crazy because when you just said those two words, something in my DNA triggered. When you said derivatives and
integrals,
man, I just remember like to me at 17, They didn't
explain it good.
It didn't click, and so
no, we had some pretty bad teachers. I love Miss Bolden to death, and she was an excellent person, and she really wanted us to understand. But the problem is, we learn different. One of the things I did like about her class was she was great on understanding the work. So I remember there was questions, you can get the answer wrong, but if you did the steps, you could get partial points.
Right.
That's important.
Yeah.
And that's really the only way that most of us are going to be able to get some understanding in these concepts. Because it ain't about the answer. It's about how are you getting there. But our teachers, there was I know you probably remember. Sometimes they reading the book right when class is starting, trying to figure out what they about to teach us, and then they got to teach it to us, and it's like they don't even all the way. It's a refresher for them.
Yeah.
The types of people, this is another conversation, but the types of people you need to really teach, a people that have been broken down beyond the levels of the lowest levels of humanity on this planet. Those are some very highly qualified individuals you need to be teaching those types of children. Children that are like descendants of slaves? Come on, bro. What are you going to teach them if you don't understand at a much higher level than average their situation? So Miss Bolden did the best she could, but bro, there's a certain level of people that we need to be having teach us, which generally the budget isn't there for. So that's another conversation of, where this country puts its priorities, and teachers are supposed to be, broke off what they're supposed to be broke off in order to do what they're supposed to do. And that would have helped you a lot, which I found when I went to science and math. Oh, this is where this money's going.
So when did you transfer your junior year?
Yeah, you have to go. They take you to the campus junior year, senior year. And that's the only 2 years that you can go to the School of Science and Math. But yeah, I found out, this is, y'all will pay college rates to teach high school students if they go here. And that's absolutely insane. Because Brandon would have totally excelled in all forms of advanced math and calculus, all forms of advanced science, if you had those types of teachers that are getting incentivized to really make sure that you understand all the thought processes and not just trying to keep their stats up. So I want to get back to dimensions.
Right. No. Right. Well, just right before we get there, I feel you because, I don't know if you know, I taught 8th grade for 1 year in High Point. Yeah. History.
I heard it on your podcast.
I appreciate you listening, man. My mama don't even listen. Damn, mama. It's fucked up. It's cool. But I feel what you're saying because we could do 2 hours on education.
Yes, sir.
But I'll just say I agree.
Yeah. It's what they would consider extra work. They pay you to lie.
Yeah.
They pay you to say a bunch of BS to students so that you can be competitive in a form of testing that doesn't apply to people like us. Exactly. So the work that we really need to do in order to make sure that we don't get left behind is considered extra work because you don't have to. What you have to do is flawed, and what you don't have to do is necessary. So when you have teachers that they know in order to keep all these students with me, I got to do all this extra work, and I'm getting paid $44,000 a year. Like, bruh, you convince me with that, I'm going home.
Yep. Sounds right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dimensions.
Back to dimensions, yes.
So,
yes.
I'm trying to wrap this up because I'm being very long-winded with this, but it's important though.
Yeah, that's what. No, dog, you're not being. Please, we need this.
Thank you,
please.
brother.
I need this.
Yes,
if nothing else.
So look, so when we explain dimensions, I think you could do it if we take the calculus route easier. But I think most of our people watching would be able to hang with the quantum physics route easier. So we're gonna go that way.
I love quantum physics.
Right, and it's because we get to talk sentences and like concepts instead of numbers. And we can do numbers,
right?
But some black people got a phobia of numbers, bro.
No, and
I had a
real.
phobia of numbers before I realized, through the teachings, I heard the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said Islam is mathematics and mathematics is Islam. That changed my whole life. And my dad started working with me and working with me through neuro-linguistic practitioning, hypnosis therapy. My dad's a licensed hypnotherapist. It's cheating, bro.
Yo,
you know what I'm saying?
Wild.
So he would do sessions with me, when I was in 1st grade, and I realized, and then through that, I was able to stop having a phobia of math. You wouldn't even believe what I'm telling you right now, but I had a phobia of math, but I thought I was horrible at it. I started doing very badly in 1st grade, and my dad was like, "Nah, we're gonna turn this around." So
your dad's a hypnotherapist?
Yeah.
Oh, I need a terabyte. I need a terabyte for this.
Look, no, and most people they don't know this. I'm cheating, bro. I'm over here moving through life like with billions of dollars in the bank, except for it ain't money, it's just thought, right?
Right.
So it's not fair. And that's why I have to move like I do as far as being more gracious and more kind. Cause bro, my neck's on the chopping block, bro. God done blessed me so much. if I mess around and try to act like, rebellious too much and too, too covetous of my own things, I already know what's on the other side for me, bro. It ain't gonna be pretty. It's just I have too much to think that I can just play around with it. Because it's not fair. I look at my family, I look at my friends. We struggling at a level mentally that it's a crime. And for me to be able to exist above that level of mentality means I owe big time. I don't have a choice but to live a life of service. Or else, I know what happens to people that don't get that straight. I don't want to be one of them people. You know what I'm saying?
That's some real shit.
I just don't want to be one of them people.
Dog, that's basically how I feel. Like,
yes, sir.
Like, I feel this, like, I'm like, I know I'm blessed.
Yes, sir.
From my parents to my upbringing.
Come on.
To just, like, to even have the resources to not have to live a life of, like, fight or flight, where I could go home and have the option to learn.
It's not
fair. Know what I'm saying? And have that environment. Yeah.
Right. No, we don't deserve this. Exactly. So it's like giving back with this information is kind of a priority.
Yes.
So look,
we fucking get it.
We don't look, man. God is good. Getting back to the dimensions, if we look at the quantum physics, you have to start dealing with at the core what is one dimension, and if you look at one dimension, it's a point. Right. So what do points do? Where are points? How do you see a point? Oh, I mean, you can't. But they're everywhere, bro. If you look at a piece of graph paper, you draw a y-axis and the x-axis, and you can plot a point. But if you're looking around in this room, like, can you show me a point? Everything is made out of points, but a point is just a concept. So how are you even going to show me that? Now let's keep moving. What's the second dimension? What's the second dimension? You have length and width, right? Okay. So you can have a square.
Okay.
You see? So a square 2D. Again.
Okay, wow, that just makes sense. Okay.
Right. You have two different directions of motion, if you will. Two different forms of motion. You can go this way and you can go that way. So now we can deal with, squares, rectangles, triangles, circles, whatever. If you draw a piece of, an x-axis, y-axis on a piece of graph paper, you can draw a circle, a square, etc. But if I ask you to point to one in the room, a little easier to do, but still a little bit odd, because they're everywhere, but they're nowhere, man. If I'm asking you to point out a square, you have to point to the face of, let's say, this rectangle, right? You have to point to the front of this rectangle. But this rectangle has depth. So there is no such, I can't hand you a square or a rectangle. It doesn't exist. It would have to have no depth. It would basically, this is a concept, right? A rectangle is a concept that in what we would consider a third dimensional world is impossible to achieve. You can't give me a rectangle because this is a rectangular prism. So talk about third dimension. That's length, width, and depth. You can't draw that on the x and y axis. Now you got to add a z axis. So you have an x axis, y axis, and a z axis coming out of the page. And this is when we started to get into multivariable calculus. That was calculus 3, which they did not offer at Holly Springs High School. I had to go for that.
I had calculus 2 at
High School. I had to go for that one. But then, they're like, oh, yeah, so you're going to draw a line coming out of the page? I'm like, how are you going to draw a line coming out the page? And you want me to, okay. So, but my point is now that's something you can kind of do. I want you to draw a rectangular prism. Well, that's my phone, right? There's the depth, the length, and the width, okay? I want you to draw, I want you to give me a sphere in this world. Oh, I can do that. I'll give you a globe. Boom, that's a sphere. These are things you can do. But now here's the point. No pun intended. Here's the point.
Oh.
Go up one more, and that's where you lose the creators of this system that we live in on this planet. These Europeans They limited right there. That's what I found. I went to the ends of what they have to offer us in advanced mathematics, bro. In advanced quantum mechanics. That's where they get lost. The second you go to the what they call the fourth dimension, bro, all hell breaks loose. That how much of the universe can you master if you only got 3 dimensions, bro? 3. Barely dealing with the third. Definitely get lost as hell with the fourth. Because remember, back when you take like things like pre-calculus, usually if it's like a word problem and you're dealing with more than 3 dimensions, the third one, the fourth dimension, would usually be time, function of time. Is it length, width, depth, and then something's moving over the course of time. But quantum mechanics, you start to find out this time thing.
What do you mean?
it is, but it isn't. And it's like, well, hold up. You know, they got this theory of relativity. It's like, you know, sometimes stuff is where it is, and then sometimes it's a little bit less than that. And it's the same thing, but it depends on how you look at it. And it's, well, what is time? Well, time can't be the fourth dimension. If the fourth dimension is more complicated than seconds, minutes, hours, it's got to be something else governing the interaction of 3-dimensional objects beyond time. This is my point, right? This is a thing that we don't spend enough time reflecting on. What is the fourth dimension? That's all. All this long-winded answer of dimension. This is what I'm trying to say. Our people do not spend enough time thinking of what governs the doing stuff, the sex, the fun, the cars, the things, the 3D interactions. What is the 4D? What is the next dimension above that? How do you deal with that? You don't even know. So, and then let's walk all the way back down to the first dimension. There's a really great book that I read in one of my philosophic implications of modern physics courses, which was about a world by dimensional analysis. Each world is a different dimension, right? So they did like the first dimensional world are just a bunch of points. And what it would be like to be a point. It's an amazing book because it's 2 points walking around living this life. What does the world look like for a point to look around? It's almost like everything is just black. Everything is. But then what if you're two-dimensional objects in a 2-dimensional world looking at each other? You got a rectangle and a triangle. And if it's only 2-dimensional, then when they're looking at each other like this. This could be a rectangle, this could be a triangle, but they're looking at each other like this. So all they look like to each other is lines. Some lines are going to be shorter, some lines are going to be wider, right? So if I'm looking at this phone, it's a 3-dimensional phone, but if I can only see 2 dimensions, I'm going to see it like a line like this, right? But if it turns to the side, it might seem like magic. But the line got shorter. Line didn't get shorter. The phone turned around. But you don't know nothing about that if you're a 2-dimensional object. What is turning around?
Okay, I see.
You see where I'm going with this?
So are you saying that basically if you're living life in the third
then somebody at the 4th dimension can see it. See what I'm saying? This is what I'm saying. We don't spend enough time thinking about this. Now let's keep. Go ahead.
This reminds me of my perspective of 666.
I don't know this one. Let's do 3rd dimension, and I'll pass it to you.
Okay.
So we'll go up.
Let me not interrupt, Lord.
No. We'll go up to another level, and this is where it conks out. Cause I'm telling you, after this, they don't got nothing to offer us except for guesses and theories. So the next level is the 3rd dimension. Now we all know this one. I don't got to paint no picture of what it's like to be a square, bro. You have a body. That's a 3rd dimensional being. Length, width, depth, all of that, right? So I mean, I could use an example of like a cube and another cube looking at each other, but like you, okay, for you, You totally get what the two-dimensional object didn't understand. When a two-dimensional object is seeing the same object get shorter and longer and shorter and longer, you understand that, well, it's not that it's getting shorter and longer. It's one object turning around in a circle. Because you don't have to look at it like this. You can get above it and look down and see it and move it around and all that, right? As a third-dimensional being. But as a second-dimensional being, you would never understand that. You'd have to go a dimension above to be able to look and see what you really are. Damn, now, how the hell are you going to know who you are if all you got is looking at yourself the way you look at a second-dimensional object? If you're looking at another person and you're only on that dimension, you have no idea what's controlling it. And this is where we get to God, bro. It don't take long.
Yeah, damn, that was about 2,700 seconds in.
Man, all phrases due to Allah. That's all I wanted to say, man. I really think that a lot of this math is hidden. But go ahead.
So you think the fourth dimension is God?
Well, everything is God. But I'm saying from our perspective, we are gods. It's in the Bible. We are God's children of the Most High.
Yes. So, okay. Psalms 82:6.
That's our job. You already know, bro.
When they get the quote in Psalm 82:6.
But check it. We are easily able to see that we're God's two second-dimensional objects. I'm a god of squares, and rectangles and triangles. Like, what is it going to do to me? I use those things to create third-dimensional objects. I control them. They can't see me coming. They have no clue their destiny. I determine the destiny of second-dimensional objects, and I put those concepts together, put them in CAD or, utilize them in the 3D space to create 3D things. They don't have no type of thought that can affect me outside of what I determine. Now, when it comes to third-dimensional being, we have to be created, therefore, by someone that is not bound to the third-dimensional thought. We have to be. And that concept, whatever that is the God over this realm. And so this is where it comes to. So in the Nation of Islam, we say that Allah came to us in the person of Master, or appeared to us in the person of Master Fard Muhammad, which is very simple. It's the concept that we all are God. God is in every single one of us, just like he's in the sky and the animals and the air and whatever. God is. So God, therefore, is in us. But we have to have an example to see how to be that as human beings walking around. So somebody has to be one enough with who they are at the dimension above the physical flesh to be able to determine what the physical flesh should be doing. That's Jesus, man. That's what the whole point of this man 2,000 years ago was prophesying. Y'all are gonna be greater than me, do greater works than
John
I.
14.
But you already know.
Don't make me get up.
No. But my point is, we're supposed to be doing that. So why aren't we thinking about this?
Yeah.
And that's why this is all I want to say about dimensions, bro. Because if we really reflect on this whole time thing, you start to realize, well, dang, if I could wrap my head around whatever the dimension above us is, then I would really understand how I'm controlled. You get directly into the subconscious mind.
Yo, this is a wild experience.
I mean, the conscious mind thing is just so limited. And so it requires a certain level of self-analysis when you really start to think deeper about numbers beyond just the interaction between different relationships of values. But what is controlling those relationships from the dimension above them? That's what I'm talking about. Like, this is where you start to get into infinities. You start to really see where we fit in this whole thing. And it's just much bigger than the conscious joys that we have, because they're coming from somewhere. All the mathematics that we do subconsciously, like the breathing and the heartbeats and the heart rates and the rate at which we deploy different toxins or nutrients to different parts of our body, bro, we're doing all of that. We are doing all of that, but it's not conscious. So who is that you that's doing that? This is God. This is what I'm talking about. I mean, we all are God, and the point is that
it's a lot for Wednesday.
We have example. We got people that done came to this earth and walked around that were at a very high level of understanding of that truth, and then we have us, and there's a big gap, and we got to close that gap, because if we were really moving around in our original selves, in our original sense of understanding who we are, we wouldn't be the same amount of successful as a cube.
Oh.
A sphere. No, you get what I'm saying, bro. I don't know if I'm saying this good, but get what I'm saying. I'm saying we're third dimensional beings, but we're not, bro. This is a third dimensional being, and I'll be damned if all I got is a body. The difference between us is that I can think. This can't. So what is that? Otherwise, we're just bunches of flesh moving around doing so. What is it that makes me be able to do all of this stuff and this can't? If we're all just third dimensional objects, we have to get into what is that dimension above that allows us to control the third dimension. If we're not actually controlling the third dimension, then there's a bigger problem, right? That's what I wanted to discuss. I did it. I'm done. I'll praise it due to Allah.
Yo.
I probably did not do a good job with that. I apologize if I lost anybody.
No, you did a great, man.
It's time. I don't really get a chance to talk to people in this way, because usually, you know, I'm a rapper. I'm making songs. I try to put the information in the way that is most palatable. You can most easily chew and swallow and all that type of stuff. This isn't necessarily that. This is what I got slugging through, you know, however many years of this evil school system and trying to see how far does this thing go? How much do y'all know? What do you have to offer me? I went to the edge, bro, and I left. Cause this is where I got. I got where I'm telling y'all right now. Like, before you waste your money, this is what they got. Questions. I was getting them back and forth. I mean, my first job was working, doing femtosecond laser spectroscopy in a lab. Oh. Like I mean, I don't even want to go. Like, come on, bro. I'm asking questions to these physicists. Like, so what are you trying to do? Oh, we're trying to figure out how to understand dark matter. Okay, how's that going for you? Oh, horribly. We're spending billions of dollars. Have no idea. Can't keep that thing on the earth for longer than the smallest fraction of a second. We have no idea. It takes so much energy. Like, why is it so hard? We don't know. I mean, dark matter is everywhere. It's most of the universe. We just don't know how to get any. It's like, well, damn, y'all dumb as hell. Pardon my French, but I'm saying this is where it went. Before you waste your money, know going in that these evil people that control everything on this planet are children. They're children. They do not know how to do this thing. That's why it's falling apart. So we got to come behind that thing and put love at the core of everything we're building. Like, ding, 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 building everything on free labor and raping people and all that. It didn't work. You know, it didn't work. So yeah, that when I got to the end of what they had to offer me, this is what I find out. Well, dang, they're all contemplating who is God. They have no clue because they thought it was just them. But the conscious them, not the subconscious, they don't have no clue what's going on down there. And the levels that they experiment with when it comes to things like brain control and hypnosis and therapies and interacting with traumas and trying to deal with taming the mind, they're very ineffective. Was when you're dealing with someone like Farrakhan, none of that stuff works. So that's why I had the teachings, and my whole life I spent trying to see what's the edge of what y'all have to offer me, because this stuff I'm getting from the Nation of Islam, it seems to be more powerful than what y'all got. Either they're wrong as hell and all their information is absolutely garbage, or y'all are wrong. And I'm finding where all their stuff is breaking. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. And there's a better way to experience this dimension, this reality that we live in. And it can be based on love. It doesn't just have to be based on getting money and screwing other people like we're primates, you know? So yeah, let me shut up. Golly.
Nah,
I'm
man.
sorry.
Nah, we're here to talk. We're here to talk. Yo, okay. Do you mind if I'm just pause it just so
Man,
I can split the
absolutely.
files up? You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
I learned about that. That's very important. All right. Well,
Yes, sir.
yo.
Man.
Oh, you could have been it's
I know, but I just didn't know.
Oh yeah, no, this ain't the Breakfast Club or nothing.
Thank you, man. I feel like I didn't know I was gonna say all this stuff, man.
I know you was in there. I'm